Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this Rolex certified pre-owned Oyster Perpetual GMT-Master 2, reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions. So the first ever white gold Rolex GMT-Master 2 debuted on the prior generation of the watch. White gold with a black dial and an Oyster bracelet at Basel World in 2014. Now in 2018, when the watch reached its current generation, the 126 generation as it's often described, we got a version of the 2014 watch with a blue dial, and it was still the old reference number, and it was still the old caliber. Well, for 2019, the blue dial, white gold, blue and red bezel GMT-Master 2 catches up with the rest of the line with the new movement 3285. This is now the 126719BLRO with caliber 3285 on the inside. So you get the whole package: white gold, Pepsi bezel, blue dial, and the 70-hour movement. The watch is a nice fit on most wrists. At 40 millimeters in diameter in white gold, it's hefty, but it's not too big. 12.5 millimeters thick, 40 in diameter. It's 48.1 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip. If we include the solid end links, the total distance across the wrist is 50.8 millimeters with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. So we're going to throw it on my wrist now, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, and give you a sense of scale. And the watch has a very nice fit. You can see relatively short across the wrist. It fits well on a wrist as small as 15 centimeters circumference in my estimation. And you can see it is quite flat. It will fit underneath the dress cuff. So if you want to wear it with formal attire or even French cuffs, it's going to work quite well. Moving a little bit further away, I'll give you your over-the-top shot. Here's your cuff shot. One more time down the barrel. Lugs are nowhere near the edge of my wrist. It's nicely balanced by the mass of the bracelet and the clasp. Now this is all white gold, but technically it's gray gold. In the industry, the best white gold, which never needs rhodium plating and is white all the way through, it's called gray gold. And that's what Rolex has used for a very long time, and it's what we have here. The bracelet features a conforming end link to cleanly mated to case, and then there's a taper down toward the clasp. The outer faces are polished. The center links are polished. The flanking links are satinated. You can see removable links are fixed by screws, and we have a clasp that is Oyster clasp with two locking factors, which is to say you have this articulated and spring-loaded combination of a beak and a hook. You see how this latches once? You can't just pull this open. You actually have to lift and unlock it just like that. So it locks once, and then it locks again with this clamshell. There's a little kerf there, so if you have ungloved hands with longer nails than I do, you can easily dig your nail in there. Now, if you want to adjust a little bit more, you have two options. You have Rolex Easy Link, which is a tool-free snap-in, snap-out adjustable system that gives you 5 millimeters of adjustment. And then you can see that there are 3 pairs of divots inside the clasp, and they have little tracks leading down into them to help you align the spring bar, but you can use your strap tool to change the anchoring point of the bracelet inside the clasp. Rolling around to the case, it is a Rolex Oyster case. You guys always ask me what's on the back. Well, usually it's a solid case back, so you got a solid gold case back on a solid gold watch. Trip lock crown in gold, you know that because it's 3 dots, but the center one is the largest. Screw down 100-meter water resistance. We have a bezel that is bidirectional. It's not a dive bezel, it's a calculator bezel, and the way this works, it's really simple. The original GMT-Master debuted in 1954 for Pan Am pilots, and it was a single time zone watch with a 12-hour and a 24-hour hand, but they were synced to each other, so you couldn't set them separately. Here, I can actually set that local time separate from the 24-hour hand, but let's say just for the sake of demonstration that I'm going to treat this like a 3 time zone watch and use this bezel, which has always been part of the watch's kit since 1954, originally used to calculate the 2nd time zone. Now it can be used to calculate a 3rd time zone. So that 12-hour is linked to the date. That's my local time. I'm going to set, let's just say I've set this 24-hour hand to Greenwich Mean Time. So now I can see that in Greenwich, England, it is 1600, which is 4 in the afternoon. Now, let's say I'm talking about a time zone that is GMT plus 2. So it's going to be 1, 2. And now I know in that time zone, maybe it's my port or airport of destination, it is 6 p.m. So now let's say I'm talking about GMT minus 2, 1, 2. I can see that it is 2 p.m. Just like that. It's a 24-hour bezel. You use the GMT offset, assuming you set that to GMT, and it'll give you that 3rd time zone. The bezel insert is a lovely combination. You can see it's one piece of cerachrom scratch-resistant ceramic, and it starts as a single color, and then through a heat treating process, 1/2 of it changes color to create this bifurcated ring of almost a pastel red and a pastel blue. Now, this looks a lot like what Audi enthusiasts would describe as Nogaro blue. It's got a little bit of an undertone of purple, which I've always liked. And then the indices and the numerals are all a deposited dust of platinum, so they won't oxidize or tarnish. You can see the knurling features a combination of polish and satin, which makes for a nice contrast. Cyclops eye magnifiers, you can see the date. We have a set of white gold hands and indices, so they'll never tarnish, oxidize, or discolor. And the dial is a lush and lovely blue lacquer. Inside the case, I mentioned caliber 3285. It replaces the prior 3186, which was a 48-hour automatic. This is now a 70-hour. Bidirectional winding, the rotor now has a ball bearing at its center rather than a jeweled staff. It's a tougher, more shock-resistant arrangement. 70 hours, 31 joules, 4 hertz beat rate. It's got a full balance bridge and a free-sprung balance for shock resistance. It's got an overcoil hairspring shaped by hand, Breguet profile, allowing for isochronous operation or concentric breathing of the hairspring and consistent timekeeping, no matter what the orientation of the watch. That hairspring is made of a blue oxidized niobium zirconium alloy called cerachrom bleu that is incredibly anti-magnetic. So this watch is water-resistant, shock-resistant, and anti-magnetic. It uses Rolex's own lubrications. It uses Rolex's own shock protection, Paraflex. So case, dial, hands, indices, bracelet, clasp, bezel, and insert, the movement, and all the parts in the movement created by Rolex, as Rolex is a fully integrated manufacturer, probably the most integrated, vertically integrated manufacturer in Switzerland. They even have their own loom. You can see Chromolite loom with its distinctive blue. All 4 hands are luminescent. If you love this watch, reach out to Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase and pricing details. One more quick clarification. When I pull the crown out all the way, I can activate hacking seconds. See how the seconds hand stops? Now I can set everything in sync. Separately, if I'm just going to set my local time, I can set forward or backwards, and I will jump the date forward or backwards, depending on which way I'm traveling across the international date line. Again, reach out to me at Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase and pricing details. Rolex certified pre-owned watches are backed and authenticated by Rolex. Should any reconditioning be necessary, it will be to a Rolex certified standard, and any parts invested Rolex factory original. Should the initial retail box, paper, and accessory set still accompany the watch, it will be included with the sale. But no matter what, a certified pre-owned box and paper set starts with an outer box, a leatherette travel pouch with suede lining, a warranty card that embodies the 2-year globally valid Rolex-backed warranty. Note, this is not a retail warranty, but backed by Rolex and actionable at any of its authorized points of sales and service. A leatherette wallet includes the warranty terms and conditions manual. A holographic hang tag marks this as a certified pre-owned Rolex watch, and a manual details Rolex's values as a company, the certified pre-owned program, care, feeding, service, and use of your Rolex, locations of points of sales and service, and details of Rolex.com. Rolex certified pre-owned watches are backed only by Rolex.